Welcome, everyone. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, and friends. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this briefing on the work of the Collaborative Partnership on Forests, or the CPF. Kindly be advised, you may have heard this, that this meeting is being recorded and will be made available via the CPF website. I also warn that I am a tough moderator and I will interrupt my colleagues even though I don't want to, is if in case the time is needed, because as you know, we have limited time and the question and answer session, I believe, is important. Let me introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I am Yvonne Higuero. I am the CPF Vice Chair for 2024, and I'm the Secretary General of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, or CITES. Ladies and gentlemen, urgent and collaborative action to conserve, restore, and sustainably use the world's forests is required if we are to address the multiple and interlinked global challenges of climate change, biodiversity loss, deforestation, desertification, and land degradation, among many others. Next slide, please. In this context, the CPF, a voluntary partnership of 16 leading international organizations with substantial programs on forests, works collaboratively to fully unlock the contributions of forests for the benefit of people and the planet. The CPF was established in April 2001 in response to an invitation issued in Resolution 2000/35 by the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, or ECOSOC, that established the International Arrangement on Forests and the United Nations Forum on Forests, or UNFF. As reflected in the accompanying slide, the core functions of the CPF are to provide support to the UN Forum on Forests and its members by enhancing cooperation, coordination, and coherence on forest issues and mobilizing political, scientific, technical, and financial support to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, the Global Forest Goals, and other important forest-related commitments and targets. Ahead of the UNFF 20, where the CPF will present a report on its progress, this briefing aims to provide UNFF focal points with updates on CPF priorities and our work plan for 2025 to 2028, activities and joint initiatives, and discussions on enhancing CPF support to member states. Today, as I said, we have quite a full agenda, including several presentations and updates from CPF partners. Time permitting, we also have the opportunity for discussion under Agenda Item 4. At Agenda Item 4, you will be invited to use the Raise Your Hand function to contribute questions or comments. We kindly ask you to please keep yourselves on mute and refrain from using the Raise Your Hand function until we get to Agenda Item 4. In the meantime, of course, you are encouraged to submit any questions through the chat function, which we will try very hard to address under Agenda Item 4. If we run out of time to address questions, these will be taken on board and addressed offline after the conclusion of the briefing. And of course, the dialogue and exchange between UNFF members and the CPF is an ongoing one and will also be continued in the context of the upcoming UNFF 20 discussions and events. So now, without further ado, I am very pleased to invite Mr. Jimin Wu, Chair of the CPF and Director of the Forestry Division at the Food and Agriculture Organization, to provide his opening remarks. Mr. Jimin Wu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yvonne. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, dear CPF colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome you all to this briefing on the work of the Collaborative Partnership on Forests, the CPF. The CPF member organizations are committed to working closely together towards a world in which all forests are sustainably managed for the benefit of people and the planet. So this is because we are able to draw upon and unite the diverse expertise and comparative advantages of our member organizations. So the CPF and its members strive to deliver results and foster synergies, complementarity, communication, and collaboration. So the CPF serves as a unique global platform where different forest communities can connect. The partnership also enhances the interface between science and policy, helping research organizations align their work with the needs of member states. So adaptability and personal dynamics play a crucial role, reinforcing CPF's role as a connector and an amplifier of collective impact. So this briefing is a useful opportunity for us all to take stock of CPF activities, progress, and achievements as we are approaching UNFF 20 in just a few weeks' time. So it is also a valuable opportunity to stress communication and dialogue between CPF and UNFF member states. So to achieve our shared goals, we must fully leverage the technical capacity of our member organizations and continue to enhance CPF engagement with the member states of UNFF, both at national and global levels. So during this session, we look forward to your engagement and contributions. Your guidance and advice will help us strengthen the CPF's impact and foster tangible progress on the ground. So let us use this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to building together a sustainable and a resilient world where people thrive and forests flourish. So thank you. Over to you, Madam Moderator, dear Yvonne.
Thank you so much, dear Jimin, for your insightful remarks and for your leadership. We very much appreciate it. I would now like to invite Ms. Juliette Biao, Director of the UN Forum on Forest Secretariat, to deliver her opening remarks. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Secretariat of the UNFF to this briefing. This briefing is being held at a critical time as the global economy is experiencing a turbulent period, rapid shock and fragmentation. The United Nations is going through an unprecedented liquidity crisis with severe impact on its ability to support member states and to fulfill its activities. This development have created an atmosphere of instability, uncertainty about the future more than ever before. On the other hand, there has been increasing awareness and recognition by the international community of the crucial role that forests play in addressing numerous global challenges. The Pact for the Future, adopted during the Summit of the Future, highlights the importance of protecting, conserving, and restoring nature and ecosystem, and the close interlinkages between forest and biodiversity and climate change. The outcome of the recent conferences of parties to the Rio Convention and their follow-up provide additional avenues for further integration of forest action and solution into national plans and strategy. This briefing is organized in response to provision of the ECOSOC Resolution 2024/15. As an important component of international arrangement on forests, ECOSOC Resolution 2024/15 contains several provisions related to the work of the CPF. We have another group of actions contained in ECOSOC resolution that are of operational and pragmatic nature and part of the routine interaction between UNFF Secretariat and the Secretariat of CPF. During the CPF retreat held in January, additional suggestions made to strengthen interaction with the governing body of CPF members organizations, such as including relevant information in agenda and official document of their meeting, or holding joint meeting between the Bureau and various governing body of the CPF member. Before concluding, I wish to refer to the 2025 UN Climate Change Conference, COP30, as an important opportunity for the CPF members to showcase their action and expertise in support of member states. In this regard, The UNFF Secretariat is collaborating closely with partner countries and organizations to prepare the Forest Pavilion at COP30, led by Brazil and Canada as co-chairs. This recurring initiative aims to raise the visibility of forests, serve as a dynamic space for diverse voices, and strengthen shared ambition and actionable commitment by all stakeholders. But before that, we have, of course, the UNFF 20 coming, where CPF and will also report on their activities. I thank you for your attention. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, dear Ms. Biao, for your timely remarks. We now will move to agenda item 2. This item will consider specific guidance relevant for the CPF emanating from the midterm review of the International Arrangement on Forests as reflected in ECOSOC Resolution 2024/15. In the lead up to the midterm review in 2024, extensive intersessional preparatory activities were undertaken transparently and independently, and in close consultation with members of the Forum, CPF member organizations, and other relevant stakeholders. These activities included an assessment of the CPF and its work, considering its effectiveness, impact, and the added value of CPF activities in support of UNFF members. These findings were subsequently considered at a CPF organization-led initiative, or OLI, in 2023, which provided an opportunity to review, discuss, and propose various actions to address the report recommendations for subsequent implementation. Now, I would like to pass the floor once more to Mr. Wu to expand on this and present an update on CPF activities and the implementation of ECOSOC Resolution 2024/15 in relation to the CPF. Jimin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yvonne. Again, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to provide a briefing on the progress made so far by the CPF and its member organizations in implementing ECOSOC Resolution 24/15, particularly paragraph 4, 5, 6, 18, and 22. So I start with paragraph 4. Next slide, please. So paragraph 4A invites the CPF, its member organizations, to enhance cooperation, coordination, coherence, and synergies on sustainable forest management and forest agendas in a holistic and integrated manner. So firstly, we know that when we come together as members of CPF, our collective action creates greater impact than any one of us acting alone. So let us acknowledge that forests were featured prominently across all 3 COPs of the Rio Convention in 2024. These important achievements involved significant coordination and cooperation from CPF members to spotlight forest's crucial role in addressing the interlinked challenges of climate change, biodiversity loss, desertification, and land degradation. The CPF has also continued to leverage the comparative advantages and technical expertise of its member organizations to support member states and the Forum, including through joint initiatives. The joint initiatives are an important and tangible contribution of the CPF. They help enhance synergies and policy coherence and channel our collective efforts towards achieving global forest goals and other forest-related international commitments. For instance, the joint initiative on biodiversity mainstreaming in forestry is assisting countries to enhance the role of conservation and sustainable use of forests in the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and the Global Forest Goals by promoting a greater coherence between related goals and targets. And the Joint Initiative on Sustainable Wood for Sustainable Worlds aims at mainstreaming inclusive sustainable wood value chains as the instrument to deliver the global forest goals, contributing to livelihoods, carbon neutrality, and to sustainable and resilient ecosystems. CPF members are also scanning the horizon to proactively address emerging issues. For instance, at the upcoming UNFF 20 in May, involved CPF members will engage constructively with members and other parties on the challenge and opportunities for conserving and sustainable managing dryland forests. For a further detailed list of actions we have been taking to work in a synergetic and complementary way to fully leverage the impact of the CPF, I invite you to refer to the relevant UNFF documentation. Paragraph 4B of the ECO6 resolution invites the CPF to consider focusing the work plan of the CPF on supporting the implementation of the UN Strategic Plan for Forests. So this topic will be addressed under item 3 of today's agenda. So on the CPF work plan for 25-28, so I will not repeat. And on paragraph 4C, invites the CPF to regularly undertake assessment of its completed joint initiatives and share those assessments with its members of the forum, and other relevant stakeholders. So the joint initiatives are valued and visible activities of the partnership. And the most recent assessment took place last year and is available as an attachment to the summary report of the May 2024 CPF members meeting we organized last year. One of the key findings of this assessment was that 9 initiatives addressed topics of high relevance and bridge critical gaps and should therefore be continuous. The assessment also provided strategic guidance to joint initiatives to enhance impact and inform future directions. For instance, it was suggested that the initiative on forest education could benefit from an increased focus on non-formal education, and that further CPF resources should be mobilized to support the initiative on strengthening global forest-related reporting. We are committed to the regular assessment of the initiatives to ensure accountability, foster continuous learning and improvement, and to ensure overall effectiveness and impact on the ground. Paragraph 4D invites the CPF to enhance interaction and communication, including through a hybrid format with members of the forum and various partners on our activities by organizing short briefing meetings. Basically, this is what we are doing now. CPF made briefing for member states and partners an integral component of the new work plan 25-28, with a minimum baseline of 1 briefing per intersessional period. Another action identified at the 2024 midterm review of the International Arrangement on Forests is to strengthen the cooperation of national focal points of member organizations of the CPF, which is ongoing and is integral part of the new CPF work plan. The work plan recommends specific actions, including in-person, hybrid, or virtual briefings and exchange on specific topics within the mandate of the CPF, to support UNFF members, to strengthen in-country coordination among national focal points for the different CPF member organizations. Paragraph 4E invites CPF and its member organization to report to the forum at each session on the progress made on actions that the CPF has been invited to undertake. So the CPF continues to report its progress and actions to the forum at a regular interval, including through the notes by the Secretariat of the Forum for UNFF 20. The report on the CPF activities is included in the document E/CN.18/2025/3. Paragraph 4F of the ECOSOC resolution invites the CPF and its member organization to conduct an assessment of options to strengthen collaboration within the CPF and send consistent and supportive messages to their respective governing bodies. And paragraph 5, in relation to point B, which invites the governing bodies of the member organizations of CPF to integrate the strategic plan, the global forest goals, and associated targets into the plan and operational programs of the work of the members of the partnership. and to take mutually beneficial action decisions on streamlining and strengthening the partnership. I'm pleased to inform you that out of the 16 members, at present, half of the CPF members have specific provisions on their work of the CPF in the decisions for their governing bodies. So in this regard, we would recall again the importance of the letter from the chair of UNFF Bureau, encouraging positive considerations and thorough follow-up actions, while recognizing that each organization's governing body and mandate is different. In response to the chair's letter, I'm pleased to inform you that 8 CPF members have already provided inputs, underscoring the relevance of the work of these organizations in supporting global forest goals and the United Nations Strategic Plan for Forests, reaffirming commitment to the work of CPF and supporting and strengthening the CPF. CPF also created a dedicated section on the CPF website to present an up-to-date overview of members' emerging mandates as they relate to CPF, with the aim to support in-country coordination across global processes. Paragraph 4G invites the CPF its member organizations to engage more actively in the work of the Global Forest Financing Facilitation Network, or GFFN. I'm pleased to report significant momentum of this last year, including the establishment of new thematic partnerships between CPF member organizations and linkages to flagship initiatives such as the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration that help reduce fragmentation and bolster the work of GFFN to mobilize resources for sustainable forest management. A full account of activities can be found in the UNFF 20 document E/CN.18/2025/4. Looking ahead, we have also outlined ambitious activities for 2025-28. We envisage active contribution from all members, including assisting the development of financing strategies, mobilizing of financial resources, and or supporting the information knowledge management functions of the clearinghouse mechanism. Paragraph 6. Encourage non-United Nations members of CPF, which may be better placed for receiving private sector and philanthropic contributions, to engage with those partners to generate support, including funding for the activities of the partnership. One of the CPF priorities and continuous efforts is strengthening CPF engagement with external partners to enhance impact, including for resource mobilization and delivery of activities on the ground. For instance, this has included engagement in the context of high-level fora, such as at COP29 last year. And this will be an important element of the implementation of the CPF Work Plan 25-28. And we look forward to continued engagement with the non-UN members of the CPF and exploring opportunities for collaboration with private sector and philanthropic organizations. Paragraph 18A invites the CPF and its member organizations to continue ongoing work on the global core set of forest-related indicators, in particular all Tier 3 indicators. I'm pleased to report that this has been a significant amount of progress, including on the joint initiative on this topic. So regarding the work on Tier 3 indicators, I took the opportunity to highlight Indicator 7, Area of Degraded Forests. So FAO has initiated a collaborative process which includes several CPF members to define forest degradation within the Global Forest Resource Assessment process. So such progress ultimately helps countries to monitor the state of changes of forests so they can develop management measures that lead to the restoration of degraded forest land and the rehabilitation of degraded land, which also provides a substantive contribution to the achievement of the Global Forest Goals 1, Global Forest Goal 1. So looking forward, additional priority actions for 25 and beyond are currently being considered as a follow-up to the capacity building workshop on reporting to UNFF, which was held in March 25 in Nairobi. Paragraph 18 invites the CPF and its member organizations to further enhance coordination, streamlining reporting and data sharing activities and make use of the existing global publications and reports on forestry. CPF member organizations have a strong foundation in this area to build on, such as FAO's past and forthcoming forest resource assessment and the past and future edition of the Global Forest Goals report led by UNFF Secretariat. The reports illustrate how physical forest data and specific forest policy-related information can be combined to create synergies and save time and financial resources. The CPF continues to strengthen its internal information sharing mechanisms, also enhance working level relationships across organizations through the joint initiative especially, and through promoting members' flagship initiatives. For example, the flagship initiative of CPF members on turning the tide on deforestation. So members can benefit from existing information and analytic products within the partnership. So paragraph 18C invites the CPF and its member organizations to organize a joint workshop on international reporting on forests for focal points of all relevant member organizations of the CPF to enhance cooperation, coordination, coherence, and synergies in line with their respective mandates and reduce the reporting burdens on countries. CPF has been promoting collaboration awareness reading for focal points about forest-related goals and targets through various means, including hybrid and virtual events, and will continue to do so. In the next planning period, the CPF is going to hold a joint workshop on international reporting on forests for national focal points of all relevant member organizations of the partnership. So finally, paragraph 22. There are two subparagraphs related to CPF. Paragraph A invites CPF and its members to coordinate on top-line key messages to the high-level political forum on sustainable development, HRPF, on forest interlinkages to SDGs under review each year. So as mentioned earlier, promoting forest interlinkages to the SDGs, including at the HRPF, through the collaborative voices of the CPF is far more impactful than any one of our organizations can do alone. So recalling the success of the joint call to action for Forest Towards 2030, which was launched during the Sustainable Development Goals Summit in 2023, and which continues to be an important input to our work, the CPF can build on this exercise to further elevate our strategic messages to fora such as the HLPF. And furthermore, the 2025-28 work plan also includes activities relating to preparation of policy briefs, joint statements, and other written materials that will enhance communication and awareness raising to enhance broader uptake. So, distinguished delegates, dear colleagues, even a brief summary can become quite extensive, given the richness of the UNFF guidance. So further detailed information will be provided under the next agenda item of the Work Plan 25-28 of the CPF. So please note that we are at your proposal to respond to your questions and observations under agenda item 4. So thank you for your attention. Over to you, Madam Moderator, dear Yvonne.
Thank you so much, Jimin, for that excellent comprehensive presentation that you managed very well with time, with such a rich number of expectations that we have from member states towards the CPF and how we have been addressing them. Very much appreciated. Let's move on then to agenda item 3, where we will receive a presentation on the draft CPF work plan for 2025 to 2028 and annual priorities for 2025 from Ms. Malgorzata Busco-Briggs, FAO Senior Forestry Officer and COFO Secretary, and from Ms. Catherine Poe, ICN Program Associate. This will then be followed by updates from CPF member organizations on joint initiatives and progress. Of course, as we said, if you have any queries or questions, I take this opportunity again to encourage you to submit your questions and comments through the chat function. I now invite Ms. Busco-Briggs and Ms. Poe to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thank you all for joining us today. It is my pleasure, together with my colleagues representing several members of the Collaborative Partnership of Forest Organizations, to provide you an update on the preparations and the key elements of the CPF Work Plan 2025-28, including joint initiatives, which is a core element of this work plan and demonstrating our actions on the ground, which obviously will be presented at UNFF 20 later on in May, which has been already mentioned by previous speakers. So let me start, colleagues, by saying that for 25 years, the CPF has been supporting the United Nations Forum on Forest and its member states in advancing the sustainable management of forests. And then today, as we face an increasingly complex landscapes of interconnected global challenges, disproportionately affecting the poorest and the most vulnerable, there is even more urgent need to coordinate and to provide holistic actions to fully realize the potential of forests. With this in mind, and in line with the recommendations of the IAF midterm review, specifically already mentioned by previous speakers, the paragraph C4B of the resolution 2024/15, the CPF has embarked in the development of its new work plan. This plan will reinforce our support for the implementation of key international forest-related commitments, and especially the UNSPF 2017-2030 and the Global Forest Goals. And building on the findings of the 2021 Global Forest Goals report, the Forest Resources Assessment Report, the outcomes of the IAF, UNFF 19 Ministerial Declaration, and relevant decisions by the governing bodies of the CPF, our collaborative approach is designed to support the work of the UNFF members, provide scientific and technical advice to the UNFF and governing bodies of the CPF members upon request, enhance coherence, cooperation, policy program coordination at all levels, advance joint programming and coordinated proposals to CPF members' governing bodies in line with the respective mandates, and last but not least, to promote the implementation of the UNSPF and highlight the vital contribution of forests and trees to the SDGs. With this, I'll pass to my colleague Catherine, who will then follow. This will be followed up by the presentation of joint initiatives, which is the core element of this work plan. Catherine, over to you.
Thank you, Margot, and thank you, Yvonne, for that introduction as well. So as Yvonne mentioned, my name is Catherine Poe, and I work with IUCN. We want to discuss the work plan more in depth. So the creation of this work plan was a truly collaborative process, which brought together all CPF members. Preliminary drafting was conducted through a CPF task force, where representatives from each member organization convened to discuss critical elements and activities to include in the document. This process culminated in a CPF retreat pictured here, which took place in Washington, D.C. at the start of this year. This convening allowed for robust dialogue and collaborative discussion to take place between all members. Ultimately, the CPF agreed that the work plan should ensure alignment with global ambitions while promoting coherence and increased ambition to achieve the GFGs in the lead up to 2030. Taking into account findings from the IAF midterm review, which Margot mentioned, the 2025 to 2028 work plan aims to do the following. First, to sharpen the focus of CPF's activities, also to mobilize and broaden our resource base, to strengthen collaboration between CPF members and member states, and to further unlock the strengths of CPF members by leveraging our comparative advantages. Next slide, please. To capture these elements, the work plan outlines a few key components, specifically priorities for action, areas for increased collaboration between CPF members, our resource needs going forward, outputs we intend to achieve, and indicators by which we'll measure CPF success so that we can better monitor how we're doing and report that back to UNFF and to our member states. Our activities are divided between continuous activities and those which are associated with thematic joint initiatives, which, as Margot mentioned, we'll discuss in detail in a few minutes. The continuous activities include a few critical items. Specifically, that's providing data, scientific, and technical advice to UNFF and to member states to support achievement of the Global Forest Goals. Also, the reinforcement of critical top-line messages, both collectively as CPF and as individual member organizations. And finally, support for engagement at COPs and other critical international convenings. Through our thematic joint initiative, we also address some really key issues. First, these joint initiatives act as the means to address specific topical issues, which we'll discuss in detail in a moment. These joint initiatives are led by either individual or multiple CPF members, and so are a great platform for us to collaborate and to demonstrate the strengths of CPF members. These joint initiatives are also intended to be responsive to emerging issues. So as the global landscapes change, we ensure that the work that we're doing is always responsive and always evolving. Next, we'll move on to discussing these individual joint initiatives, and I will pass the floor on to the following speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, thank you for this opportunity to provide an update on the joint initiative on streamlining forest-related reporting, jointly led by the FAO and the United Nations Forum on Forests. I will focus on progress in the improvement of 3 indicators of the Global Core Set. First, the Global Core Set indicator 10, share of wood-based energy in total final energy consumption. FAO is developing a new statistical model to estimate global wood fuel removals and wood charcoal production using over 2,000 newly identified data points, including those from the African Energy Commission. The result of this work will be made available this year and subsequently integrated in the FAO database. Global Core Set 12 indicator employment related to the forest sector. In 2022, FAO published a study on contribution of the forest sector to total employment in national economies. This study was a result of our collaboration with the International Labour Organization and the Thunen Institute. Since then, we have continued this collaboration, further developed the underlying model, and updated the results of the survey with the latest ILO data. These data and the improved methodology will be published in the context of the Global Forest Resources Assessment 2025 later this year. And then finally, Global Core Set Indicator 7, area of degraded forest that the Director Wood was already referring to. And in the past 2 cycles of the Global Forest Resources Assessment, FAO has collected data on national definitions on the forest degradation, applied criteria, and ongoing monitoring efforts. These data have been used to prepare a background paper on forest degradation, which serves as a starting point for the work of the recently established FRA Advisory Group Task Force on Forest Degradation. The task force is aiming at drafting a forest degradation definition within the next 2 years. Finally, regarding the future priorities, our main objective under this initiative for the coming years include operationalization of the Global Core Set and upgrading the tier level of those indicators where significant progress has been made in terms of methodologies and data availability. We hope that in the coming years, we can start using Global Core Set country profiles as a standard product for demonstrating progress towards jointly agreed goals and standards. Now I would like to pass the floor to my colleague, Mr. Paudel from UNFF Secretariat.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present a brief highlight on forest financing under GFFN. Since established in 2015, GFFN has been supporting 39 countries and 3 sub-regions in building capacity for developing national forest financing strategies and preparing the project proposal, mostly concept note for multilateral financing. In 2024, we supported 5 countries and 1 sub-regional entities, and we have been collaborating with CPF members, especially to develop project concept notes. For example, recently in Suriname, we have been working with FAO, in Malawi with IUCN, UNCCD, and CIFOR, and also in Peru with World Bank. Additionally, the Clearing House of GFFN has been providing timely data and information on forest financing. By the end of 2024, the website, the Clearing House website, has 3 key databases with more than 300 entries, namely this database contains financing opportunities, learning materials, and good practices and lesson learned. We have published 10 quarterly highlights, and we will continue to do so. And we are also preparing to launch the regular webinar series. The first one will be with CIFOR very soon. And the future one, we will collaborate with CPF members in the relevant topics. The more about forest financing, we will be discussing during UNFF 20. Thank you very much. And I will pass this to my next presenter, Ms. Jamal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished delegates, and greetings from the Secretariat of the Convention on Biological Diversity. My name is Jamal Naklicheva. And I'm glad to present a few updates from a relatively new joint initiative on strengthening the coherence between the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and the Global Forest Goals. So this joint initiative is co-led by 3 agencies, CBD, UNFF, and FAO, and it will stretch over the 3 years of 2024 to 2026. So this joint initiative will be implemented in a staggered manner, and we started off the last year when the 3 agencies, with the help of the CPF members, produced the assessment on the role of conservation, restoration, and sustainable management of forests for the implementation of the GBF target. So this publication, along with the brief guidance which mapped the global forest goals and the GBF targets, they were launched at the CBD COP16 at the Forest Day. And also following the joint statement of the CPF members at the COP16, we had a very good decisions which also gave the mandate to CBD to work closer and with the CPF and the UNFF. So, and specifically we have that now on the screen, that COP16 also invited parties that are members to the UNFF to align their forest-related commitments in NBSOPs and the voluntary national contributions. So this is also mirrored by the respective resolution from the UNFF, which allowed the 2 agencies really to come closer together and to explore the synergies between these 2 intergovernmental instruments. So this year, we're moving to our next phase when the CBD and UNFF secretaries will launch 2 regional assessments in Asia and in Latin America and Caribbean to identify barriers and solutions for the synergies among these 2 instruments. We also hope to find, we will also include the case studies of the selected countries to identify more insights for such as synergies. And just using this chance, I would like to invite you everyone at the UNFF 20 site event, where we will be presenting the interim results of this component jointly with us 3 agencies, UNFF, CBD, and FAO. We will also present the interim results of the FAO-led analysis on forest-related commitments in NBSOPs. So please stay tuned for more updates at the UNFF 20. We, of course, will be moving forward to the 2026, where, of course, to the UNFF 21 meeting and the CBD COP17, where we will present the policy brief that will summarize the findings, will make recommendations for synergy at the national and global level, and also recommendation that will leverage more resource mobilization. And we will also look forward to more implementation on the ground and the mainstreaming of biodiversity into the forestry, which will be led by FAO. So that's my brief update on this joint initiative, and I'm passing the floor to the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Paula Prisch. I'm a Senior Program Coordinator at IUCN, and I'm going to present also the results of a very new initiative, the Strengthening Conservation of Primary Forest through Partnership Enhancement and Coordination of Support, which is being led by IUCN, the GEF, UNFF, and FAO, and is also being supported by the Griffith University and the Wildlife Heritage. So during these past months, we submitted a motion and a side event to the World Conservation Congress, which is going to happen in October in Abu Dhabi. And this side event is about solutions to integrating primary forests into nature-positive economies and societies. We finalized a policy brief on primary forests, which was led by the Griffith University. And we organized a workshop on forest resource assessments and global forest goal reporting for UNFF national focal points, which was organized by the UNFF and FAO. During these past few months, we faced some administrative and legal challenges, which delay some of the beginning of our activities. But as future priorities, we aim to integrate primary forest into national and multilateral policies and create awareness and advocacy to raise the global profile of tropical primary forests. And I give the floor to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Hello to distinguished delegates. I'm Jennifer Conhay, the Director of Forest Management at the International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO. The Integrated Fire Management in Tropical Forest Initiative is led by ITTO and supported by fellow CPF members FAO and UNFF, as well as the Global Fire Monitoring Center and the Center for People and Forest, RACOFT. Now, this initiative will contribute to improved and effective integrated fire management in tropical forest and surrounding landscapes by strengthening the dissemination of current fire policy and technical guidelines and frameworks, building capacities and skill development for various actors, including local forest communities, and enhancing regional and global cooperation. In 2025, some of the key activities include ITTO will start development of an online tropical IFM toolkit, which will contribute to the Global Fire Hub's efforts to develop an assessment tool for IFM and creation of a global repository for fire information. RACOFT will publish and start training on their community-based fire management guidelines. They will also be hosting a Southeast Asia Fire Dialogue in May 2025. UNFF will explore initiating a study on the landscape of forest fire financing, and the joint initiative partners will actively participate in the Global Fire Hub plenary held in June, hosted by FAO, where a tropical fireside event will be held. In addition, at the plenary, partners will explore the potential to develop a subgroup focused on the tropics under the Global Fire Hub structure. Thank you, and I now pass the floor to Mr. Nelson Grima, Coordinator of the Science Policy Program at IUFRO.
Thank you, Jennifer. As Jennifer mentioned, my name is Nelson Grima. I'm Coordinator of UFRO Science Policy Program. And I would like to highlight that the main line of action of the Global Forest Expert Panels, or GFEP for short, joint initiative is to develop global assessments of key issues of high concern. This initiative is led by UFRO with support of the rest of CPF members and began in April 2007. Since then, thanks to the support of our funders, in particular from the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development from Germany, the US Forest Service, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Finland, we have produced 8 global assessments of forest-related issues. These publications are prepared by thematic expert panels consisting of internationally recognized scientific experts in their fields and undergo rigorous peer review. Currently, we are working on our 9th global assessment, which focuses on the topic of forests for social and economic resilience. During 2024, we developed a draft of this assessment on forest for socio-economic resilience, and that assessment was then peer-reviewed. A highlight during that period was the authors meeting that we held in Rome, which gave us the chance to work together in person for 3 days and to finalize the final draft of the assessment. During that meeting, the review comments were addressed by the authors, and a new improved version of the final draft was produced. Currently, we are working on the editing and graphic design of the assessment, and we are planning to publish it on the 5th of June during an online event that we are at the moment organizing. After that, the rest of 2025, we will focus on promoting the assessment through an extensive outreach campaign and through going to different intergovernmental and international meetings to promote it and share the key outcomes of it. I would like to highlight the challenge we have encountered lately is the increasing distrust of science from some policymakers and also from part of the general public, which is making our work harder and is raising obstacles to effectively communicate to the outcomes of our work. And now I would like to give the floor to my colleagues from FAO and CIFOR-ICRAF for the next joint initiative.
Thank you very much. My name is Suyan Laura Jin. I'm a forestry officer from FAO. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the initiative on Forest for Food Security and Nutrition. This initiative is co-led by FAO and CIFOR-ICRAF. And as under this initiative, we're developing a key knowledge product to increase awareness and strengthen nexus between forest and food security and nutrition. We are trying to review and update the currently available data at global level, as well as collecting case studies that is also available at regional, country, and community levels. We are facing some data gaps and methodological challenges. However, we're trying to address as much as possible the existing challenges and propose concrete recommendations that can be improved as part of the outcome of the report. For instance, data harmonization or standardization of forest food, or what is defined as non-wood forest product, and making a concrete list that we can refer to is one of the examples of data gaps and methodological challenges we're facing. All in all, as a result of this report, we're hoping to provide a set of policy recommendations that can be implemented at country level eventually. And in order to do that, we are also brainstorming different ways to strategically disseminate the final report outcomes to create impact. And to do that, we would require to mobilize resources. And this is the update as of now. And I would also like to invite Robert Nasi from CIFOR-ICRAF to add a few words. Thank you, Robert. Please.
Thanks, Laura. I think what I hope myself from this initiative is really that you correct the sort of current blindness that everybody has about the importance of forests for food, and that we have finally the data open and available to all that show that in many cases, forests contribute to 20 to 25% of the livelihood and food security of the people. So that's my hope, and I'm sure that we'll do it with this work. Thanks.
Thank you. I will now pass the floor to the next speaker, please.
Thanks so much, Laura and Robert, and greetings to all. My name is Tim Scott with the UN Development Program, and it's my pleasure to share this update on behalf of UNDP, UNEP, and FAO on turning the tide on deforestation. Thanks to you, Director Wu, for already mentioning the CPF initiative in your opening remarks. Building on the good results and impact achieved last year and in previous years, under this initiative, UNDP, UNEP, and FAO with partners will continue to enhance the role of forests in NDC 3.0 updates. This includes a joint CPF statement on challenges and opportunities and turning the tide and showcasing the path from pledges to action and advancing solutions. And this work will continue up to and including COP30 this year in Brazil and beyond. In parallel and very much in complement to this, under this initiative, we'll continue to enhance the role of forests also in NBSAPs, National Biodiversity Strategies and Action Plans, and in land degradation, neutrality targets, and linked advocacy and South-South opportunities under the framework of the CBD Secretariat, with thanks to Jamal again, and to UNCCD COPs 17, both next year and beyond. Also, we'll continue to align global forest goals with a particular focus on goals 1, 3, and 5 with climate and nature-related forest commitments at all levels, including regional, national, and at the local community level. We'll also continue to support the broader set of UN country teams and sister agencies in the UN system in each country context to maximize delivery on this initiative with impact at the country level. And to help enable all of this, we'll continue to focus on advancing joint resource mobilization to continue to turn the tide on deforestation. With that, it's my pleasure now to give the floor to my good colleague from FAO to speak on sustainable wood.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, colleagues. My name is Thais Linhares Benal. I am going to present the Sustainable Wood for a Sustainable World joint initiative. This initiative was established in 2018, so completing 7 years now, and it's a joint initiative co-led by FAO and the TTO and supported by the CIFOR, ICRAF, CITES, IUFRO, and the World Bank. The initiative has positioned sustainable wood as a nature-based solution, and through the adoption of a value chain approach, the SW has raised awareness of investments and new market opportunities involving wood. It has a strong convening power demonstrated through this high political engagement and multi-stakeholder collaboration. It has been a key vehicle to disseminate the bioeconomy approach in forestry, and it has supported countries to develop country roadmaps, governance, innovative finance strategies, and producer capacities. It has launched a campaign, a global campaign, to change society's perception of wood, the Grow the Solution campaign, which has focused on wood also relation to contributions to climate change and its benefits to climate mitigation and adaptation. The initiative has explored positive linkage with forest and land restoration. In the second phase of the initiative, we will focus on increasing adoption of wood solutions at country level through catalyzing and supporting public-private arrangements to scale up action and impact. The initiative will also work as a platform to pilot and scale up innovative solutions and to disseminate good practice. With that, I hand over to the next colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, Thais. I'm Teresa Löffler, a forestry officer at FAO. The Wangari Maathai Forest Champions Award is a long-standing CPF joint initiative that has already awarded several forest champions since 2012. You can see them below on that slide. The recognized awardees are incredible personalities, activists, practitioners, and pioneers from the grassroots level. These champions are striving to encourage healthy forest landscape and communities through sustainable forest management, conservation, and restoration. Over the years, the award has grown in recognition. We receive more applications every year, and the brand gets better known. There is an immense potential to scale up the award, add categories, elevate outreach for the inspiring work of the awardees, or even to make them CPF or forest ambassadors. The next call for nominations will be opened in autumn 2025, and the next champion will be awarded in 2026. Next slide, please. Each year, the CPF Communicators Network proposes a universal theme for the International Day of Forests. You will hear the proposal for 2026 at the upcoming UNFF 20 session. This year, the theme was Forests and Foods, and CPF members coordinated communication campaigns and boosted each other's product outreach and events. For example, the International Day of Forest video spot was produced in 42 languages and viewed more than 6 million times on social media, while being also broadcasted to more than 600 million households worldwide. Another outreach effort is the Grow the Solution campaign that advocates for the use of sustainable wood as a high-quality alternative to materials derived from fossils. Specific outreach assets will be developed for the upcoming UNFCCC COP30. The campaign is under the aegis of the Joint Initiative on Sustainable Wood for a Sustainable World, which was just presented by my colleague Thais, and the campaign was launched last year at the UNFF session. With that, let me now pass the floor to my colleague from FAO, Thomas Hofer, who is a Senior Forestry Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues, excellencies, friends. It is my pleasure to present to you very briefly the second phase of the Joint Initiative on Forest Education. Now, we are all aware that the common message of all recently held global conferences is that we have to change pace if we want to bring the way we use our planet onto a sustainable path. So sensitization and capacity development of young people is probably one of the most important and promising endeavors in this sense to change path. So that's exactly the spirit, the overall spirit, justification and motivation of this joint initiative, which, as you see here, enters into its second phase, which is led by FAO and where other members of the CPF are still to be identified. You see in the four bullet points that the focus of this joint initiative is very strongly on capacity building and on informal education. And when we talk about informal education, also very much focusing at the field level, for example, through the Farmer Field Schools platform, which is providing knowledge and skills for sustainable forest management. Another focus is also to actually amplify the voice of youth in terms of advocacy, giving them a voice in events, conferences, and so on, and to highlight the need for education and access to innovative technologies. At the moment, the most concrete example of activities is a project which just started, which is focusing on Guatemala, Togo, and Vietnam, where we are supporting field practitioners through national forest and farm producer organizations with a focus on youth. So that's a very brief presentation of the Forest Education Phase 2 joint initiative. And with this, I give the floor to our last speaker, I think, in this round, which is Thea Carroll from the CITES Secretariat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, it's my pleasure to share some information on a joint initiative that is in the pipeline as part of the CITES Tree Species Project funded by Germany. The CTSP will focus on forest governance to ensure sustainable and legal international trade in CITES-listed tree species, thereby promoting sustainable forest management. The project will directly address illegal and unsustainable harvesting and trade, drivers of deforestation, forest degradation, and biodiversity loss. The CTSP builds on previously successful initiatives, including the ITTO CITES collaboration and the EU-funded CITES Tree Species Program, and now expands its geographic scope to include all regions. Financial and technical support will be provided to range states, strengthening capacities of CITES management and scientific authorities and national enforcement bodies. Activities include direct support to countries to undertake non-detriment findings and legal acquisition findings, further development of tools in this regard, as well as regional and taxonomic level workshops. A joint initiative will be developed in collaboration with CPF members. The modalities must still be defined, and the exact implementation partners, activities, and budgets will be determined during the course of the project to ensure flexibility and enhance synergies and coherence with ongoing initiatives. CPF's collective outreach and technical expertise will help ensure effective delivery of targeted interventions with positive impact at national, regional, and global levels. The initiative will strengthen CITES implementation while supporting the achievement of multiple global forest goals, relevant SDGs, global climate objectives, and contributing to several Kunming-Montreal GBF targets. Thank you, and I'm handing the floor back to the moderator.
Thank you so much, dear Thea, and thank you to all of you. I will clap on behalf of everybody because I am very impressed that everybody kept their time wonderfully while at the same time giving comprehensive updates on the extensive progress that has been made through the CPF Joint Initiatives to date. These really provide a solid basis to build on as we look towards the implementation period for the upcoming ambitious work plan of the CPF for 2025-2028. We cannot forget that 2030 is just around the corner, where we will have to demonstrate progress and how CPF partners work together to have what I always say, the bigger bang for our buck. We need to make sure that we are working together to be able to have much bigger results than if we worked on our own. Now, we move into the discussion segment where we welcome your questions and comments. If you'd like to contribute, please use the raise hand feature and I'll invite you to unmute. If you are unable to raise your hand, please do let us know in the chat that you are wishing to take the floor. As mentioned earlier, you can also submit your questions in the chat and we will look to address as many as possible. Those questions and comments we are unable to address due to time limitations will be taken on board. So I kindly ask my colleagues, the technical colleagues helping us, if you let me know if anybody is already requesting to take the floor.
This one from Lebanon.
I believe there's a raised hand by Lebanon. Lebanon, you can take the floor. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I'm Shadi Moana from the Ministry of Agriculture, working in very close collaboration with FAO, both in Lebanon and in Rome. And I would like to really emphasize and support what was said by Mr. Wu regarding the facilitation of the burden of reporting, because as public institutions, we are constantly facing big burdens of reporting because we report to many bodies and sometimes the information are there, everything is available, but the way of the data is needed sometimes creates some complexity. So we really highlight the importance of trying to have something more homogeneous, at least between the UN agencies, UNFF, FAO, UNDP, where we have to report for. That would make things very much easier for us. That was from my side, and thank you again for all the great presentations that we've had. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chadi, for that important comment. Indeed, all over we are seeing that there are a lot of calls from many countries in different processes about lessening the burden on countries given the limited resources that all are experiencing, especially now. Thank you so much for that comment. Is there anybody else who would like to take the floor? Don't be shy. This is the opportunity to make comments. If you think that something has been left out, that would be important to know. We have all our colleagues here from the CPF. You can ask also questions in particular. Please feel free to do so. Of course, we will continue this discussion as well at UNFF. Oh, I see India. India, please. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I would like to highlight the whole UNFF agenda. On the agenda, we have got a small observation that United Nations General Assembly has declared 2025 as International Year of Cooperatives. And this is the second time they have done it. And the cooperatives have a significant entrepreneurship opportunities in sustainable forestry, enhancing livelihoods, promoting innovation, and supporting inclusive green growth aligned with global forest goals and 2030 agenda. So maybe we can have a way of including cooperatives because they are ground level in innovation engines. So maybe we can look at in our different works how we can incorporate this initiative of United Nations General Assembly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amit, for that observation. I wonder if any of my colleagues who are online from the UNFF Secretariat or from FAO would like to add anything to that, but certainly it's we have taken note of your observation about cooperatives and their importance. I don't think. Okay, UNFF Secretariat Director, please.
Yvonne, just to say that we take notes, maybe the UNFF for 20 will be also an opportunity, either through side events or the main meeting to kind of discuss that. But we take note. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julieta, for that. And we will definitely, it's something that can be brought up in interventions as well. Okay, thank you to India for that. Anyone else? We still have a little bit of time.
Ismail is raising his hand.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm having a little bit of a delay. UNFF Chair, UNFF 20 Chair, Mr. Belen, please take the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Ioana, for this wonderful meeting. I'm Ismail Belen from Turkey. I'm the chair of the UNFF Bureau. My special thanks to everyone who joined us today. As Mr. Zimin Wu from FAO and the chair of the CPF already mentioned that after UNFF 19 last year, as the chair of the Bureau, I sent letters to the chair of the CPF members with the help of Secretariat. So my special thanks to Juliet and her team. And I'm very happy to say that we received so far more than half of the CPF members sent their feedbacks. This is really good, very nice. My thanks to everyone. And as the Bureau, we give much importance to work with the CPF members very closely. So from our side, as the Bureau, we are ready to work very closely with every CPF members. And again, my thanks to, I see my dear colleagues, Margot and Wu, Mr. Wu, and a lot of people here. So thank you so much for your wonderful leadership for this meeting. I see this meeting was really effective, and I propose to share the result of this meeting with the national focal points of UNFF members. Thank you again, Mrs. Ioana, for this meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We very much appreciate your comments and yes, your recognition of all the work being done by FAO and UNFF Secretariat to organize this meeting and give this briefing. Thank you. I think there might be something in the chat. yes, we're responding to that request for the CPF draft work plan. I understand we're preparing the documents, correct? Yes. That will be distributed. I see China. Ms. Yang,
Okay,
please
thank you
take the
very
floor.
much. Thank you. I am Yingwen Jiang from China's National Forestry and Grassland Administration. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to every colleague. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for sharing with us all the updates and the progress that we have made by the member organizations of the CPF during the past years, including the joint initiatives and other activities. And also we appreciate for sharing with us the updates on the 2025-2028 work plan and the annual priorities, including a very extensive and rich briefing of the joint initiatives that will take place. We appreciate that a lot. And we would like to agree with the CPF chair and all other speakers that we need to continue to leverage the technical capacity of the member organizations of the CPF and to further unlock the comparative advantages and technical expertise of the member organizations of the CPF. Actually, we count on your support in providing data, information, and technical expertise and capacity building. And we propose that in the upcoming COPs of the Rio Conventions that we could continue to further enhance the visibility of forests in not only the general policy arena, but also in other sectors, including non-forest sectors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yang, for your kind comments and also for bringing up these different issues that you would like to see addressed. Understandably, yes, in terms of those platforms like the COP meetings to raise awareness about the work that's being done on forests and the importance of forest ecosystems. I don't know if anybody else from the CPF membership would like to say something in response or comment.
Yvonne, maybe I can briefly just
yes, Jamal from the CBD.
Yes, thank you so much for the comment from China. Forest biodiversity will be negotiated at the CBD COP17. So, and I think that will provide a very good opportunity for the parties and all the observers, and including China, of course, that is keeping co-leadership for the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. To really leverage the role of forest conservation and sustainable use and its very broad role that it actually plays in the implementation of the different strategies. So thank you for your comment.
Thank you very much, Jamal, for addressing some of those issues. I now have a question from Iran, Mr. Jafari, or a comment. Iran, if you would wish to take the floor. Okay, maybe some technical difficulties. I'll move on to Nigeria, who requested the floor, and then we see what we can do about Iran. Please, Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
If you could introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Adijoke Akinyele, and I'm a professor of forestry in the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. And my question is based on the involvement of educational institutions in all these programs. You know, we've had beautiful presentation, and I actually did not hear anybody mentioning involvement of education institutions. And I would like to know what's the level of our involvement in all those programs, or how can we come in if in the past we have not been involved? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, for those comments and observations about the involvement of academia. in the UNFF 20, I think perhaps, and the discussions that we've been having today, perhaps the UNFF director may wish to say something about that, or the CPF chair.
No, I'd like to say that, when we talk about global awareness, we cannot really promote global awareness without education and science. So somehow we involve those institutions, especially through in collaborating also with IUFRO. We have several panel discussions. So currently we are reaching out potential panelists, and we're trying to make sure also that the panel is well balanced in terms of who we want to see, including the academia and education. So we're waiting for confirmation. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Madam Director. Mr. Jimin Wu, would you like to say something about this too?
Okay. Firstly, thank you very much, Professor from Nigeria, for this question. Basically, as just introduced by colleagues just now, that we have actually the engagement of universities on some of our, say, joint initiatives, like the joint initiative on primary forest. And at the same time, I think if you are interested in engagement in the CPF-related work, I think it depends on the speciality of your, say, university or of the professors or your technical team, that you can come to actually one of us or a few of the member organizations of the CPF and convey your willingness, and then we can discuss about the possibilities of collaboration in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wu, and both of you for underlining how, of course, academia is a major group. We have joint initiatives amongst us in the CPF, but we always have the possibility of inviting others to join us in those joint initiatives, and also especially those who are major groups like academia and indigenous people and local communities and others. So please, as Mr. Wu says, put forward your request. Now, lastly, let's take the question. Oh yes, please go ahead. Of course.
Yeah, just to share that we have a partnership with Yale University. We have a partnership with Yale University, so we really work with academia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Biao. I think the person we were the one last comment, please, from, it wasn't Iran, it's Mr. Mustafa Jafari, the Secretariat of the LFCC, please.
Thank you for giving me the floor, lastly, because we face with some difficulty.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank FAO and other colleagues for organizing this very rare briefing, and all the colleagues providing presentation. I would like to thank them. But I want to ask to put attention of the meeting on the LFC, on low forest cover country, which I think is a need to be highlighted in all CPF meeting. And the second point, just in this very tight meeting, I want to raise, we expect from the CPF one main point for reaching international agreement text, and we need to have something in group of the meeting, because if we look at the presentation, all been invited people separately organization, member organization of CPF. But if we need to have some main sharing point, which CPF been organized in the beginning, because I've been involved with the forest negotiation from early time, from Rio for Forest Principle and IPF, IFF, then UNFF. But still we do not reach a common point which sharing between all colleagues. We, as the IPS lead author, I think we need to highlight CPF role in the working group 3 in IPCC meeting, because we need to have a mitigation role in much more important than it is we face with this point. Thanks all, and thank you very much at the end, and I hope somebody react to this important point. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jafari. Unfortunately, we're reaching the end of the meeting, and your point is very important. As we said, we will take on board these comments, and we'll be able to come back to you perhaps separately. But certainly, we have taken on board what you're mentioning, and as we had discussed before, we of course reach out to others, and we will try to do a better job of that. We will take on board to make sure that we are inclusive when we are preparing our joint initiatives and seeing if there's others.
Thanks anyway.
Thank you very much. But certainly we have taken on board your comments. So dear colleagues, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this has been really a great discussion, and I truly appreciate all the insights and perspectives that have been shared, and that everybody has been keeping time very well. Of course, we'd love to continue this discussion, but we need to start wrapping up because I know you all have very important work to continue doing. If we didn't get to your question, please note that these have been taken on notice, and we will address them offline as soon as possible, like I mentioned before. And now, as we end and we come to close, I would like to invite to the floor Mr. Daniel Violetti, Vice Chair of the CPF for 2025 and the Senior Director of Programs Coordination at the UNFCCC, for some closing remarks. Mr. Violetti, over to you.
Thank you, Yvonne, and congratulations for a perfect moderation on time of all this important briefing, and excellencies, all participants. And today's briefing was a great opportunity really to provide the information on the steps that CPF members took to implement the outcome of the midterm review of the International Arrangement on Forest stipulated in ECOSOC Resolution 2415. And also to outline how the CPF is supporting the accelerated implementation of the UN Strategic Plan for Forests and the Global Forest Goals, which of course mutually support the implementation of other goals and commitments, such as the Global Biodiversity Framework, the Paris Agreement, the land degradation, natural target setting, and all these synergies that we need all together to strengthen, especially for forest. So in my new capacity as a CPF Vice Chair, I really would like to extend my appreciation to all the CPF member organizations. Those governing bodies have responded to the UNFF 20 Chair's letter regarding strengthening collaboration and support the work of the CPF. And integration of the UN Strategic Plan for Forest and the Global Forest Goals in their programs. And I really encourage those who have not done so to respond in preparation for UNFF 20. Now, in preparation for COP30 in Belém, in Brazil, the CPF is preparing a plan for the effective and impactful engagement of CPF. And this engagement could include, and I list 4, potential activities: preparation of CPF joint statement in advance of COP30, to use it as a tool to advance a coherent approach among CPF members regarding the main forest-related issues in the agenda at COP30. A second, organization of a CPF Day, during which joint CPF events with the engagement of all CPF members' organizations could be held, and this joint event will be held at the Forest Pavilion, to be established at COP30, led by Brazil and Canada. We heard about all this. Organization of events and announcement of partnerships among a subset of CPF members on key topics of interest and the substantive issues under consideration of the respective COPs, preparation of communication materials and awareness raising campaigns under the CPF branding on forest-related information. This is of interest to delegates and other COP participants, including the UN Strategic Plan for Forest, the Global Forest Goals, and other globally agreed goals and objectives on forests. Now, we will be further discussing and making joint plans for the CPF in the coming months, including during the UNFF 20, to leverage these opportunities to support more ambitious forest-based action and solution to keep our 2030 commitment. So, in closing, I take this opportunity to invite you all to the CPF side event at the UNFF 20 on Joining Forces for Forests, CPF Joint Action to Advance Global Forest Goals. This event will be held during lunchtime on 7th May and will feature speakers from member state and CPF members, including a panel discussion to showcase CPF's joint activities and initiatives in support of the Global Commission on Forests. I also want to extend the invitation to you to join the UNFCCC FAO side event on Friday the 9th during lunchtime on aligning global climate and global forest goals towards UNFCCC COP30. And finally, let me highlight and reiterate the importance of including forest climate action in the new nationally determined contribution, so our UNFCCC process NDCs. The latest round of submission are expected from all parties under the Paris Agreement well before COP30, and their REDD+ is an integral building block of the Paris Agreement, and without forest, we will not achieve the objective of this important treaty. So these NDCs are not the target only or the plans of the country, but also an opportunity to attract collaboration and investment for halting and reversing deforestation and forest degradation by 2030, a goal on which, of course, we must take significant progress in the next 5 years. And this should be considered in the new formulation of NDCs by all parties. With that, let me thank you all and for attending and being with us today, and back to you for closing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Daniel, for your insightful closing remarks. I would like to mention that this will be my last formal engagement with CPF as Vice Chair for 2024. It's been really a pleasure and a privilege to serve in this role, and I thank you all for the support and collaboration. To my successor, Danielle, I wish you all the best as you take on this important role. I'm confident you'll do a fantastic job, and you'll have a lot of dear colleagues to lean on as you get settled into your role. I would also like to thank all the presenters and contributors for today's briefing. We have received a comprehensive update on the breadth of progress, achievements, and future work planned under the mandate of the CPF. Please, let's keep this momentum going. I look forward to seeing many of you next month at UNFF 20 to maintain this momentum on these important discussions and our collaborations as UNFF members, CPF partners, regional and sub-regional partners, and major groups as we work to conserve, restore, and sustainably manage the world's forests for their multiple benefits. Thank you all for your attendance and participation, and looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Applause to all of you, and thank you so much for everybody online. Thank you. Have a wonderful end of day, rest of day. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.